Authorities have actively encouraged bicycle adoption as part of a sustainable transport system.
In the Netherlands, the cycling capital of the world, nearly 3 out of every 10 new bikes sold isn't just a bike, it's an e-bike. That's a massive market.
The Netherlands is today the so-called bicycle capital of the world, with upwards of 28 million bicycles for a population of 18 million.
And for well over a decade, if you thought e-bike in the Netherlands, you probably thought Stella Fietsen. They were huge, a real market leader, a brand synonymous with accessible, reliable, electric biking for millions. Their name, chosen because it means beautiful shiny in Italian, seemed to perfectly capture their ambition. So when news broke in November 2024 that this pioneering e-bike powerhouse was officially declared bankrupt, yeah, it was a big deal. So how does a company that big, in a market that hot, just disappear? Let's talk about it. So, Stella Fietsen's story actually kicked off way back in 2008. Co-founders Don van Rensselaer, who would become CEO, and his business partner Wilco van de Kamp literally started this venture from a shed in the backyard of Don's parents. But their vision was anything but small time. They saw the future was electric, and they honed in on it exclusively. Their genius was a disruptive direct-to-consumer model. No bike shops, no middlemen. Instead, Stella designed and developed their bikes in-house, assembled them right there in Nunspeet, Netherlands, and then relied on a network of their own 48 test centers across the Netherlands and Belgium. Here, potential buyers could view, test, and purchase. But the real secret sauce was the delivery. Stella would deliver the bikes right to your home, assembled and adjusted based on the buyer's wishes. They backed this up with their own mobile maintenance and breakdown service, providing unmatched convenience. This approach resonated strongly with consumers, particularly the 50-plus demographic, who valued that personalized service and direct engagement. Huge deal back then, if you think about it. They aggressively pushed this message through large-scale advertising campaigns in regional, then national newspapers. Stella started at the bottom of the e-bike market, offering compellingly low prices, which did lead to some mixed opinions about initial quality. But they rapidly iterated, developing new models at a fast pace and improving quality. By having frames produced cheaply in China during their first year, they kept costs down, eventually allowing them to compete and even surpass established Dutch giants like Sparta, Batavis, and Gazelle, seizing that market leader title. Their growth was, frankly, insane. They started with just 8 employees, selling 2,100 e-bikes in that very first year. Fast forward to 2019, and Stella was absolutely dominating, moving a staggering 65,000 e-bikes in the Netherlands alone. And by 2021, the company's workforce had swelled to over 600 employees. They were, without a doubt, a force. Now, even while Stella was busy expanding and dominating, there were subtle tremors, some early warning signs that things weren't as perfect as they seemed from the outside. The company had grand ambitions beyond just manufacturing. They aimed to pivot into more of a technology company, with a stated goal to become the #1 player in Europe within the coming 10 years. They even looked into digital customer experiences, leveraging low-code platforms and setting up their own bike leasing service, the Bike Project, to push e-bike adoption for commuters. A major step in their expansion plans came in May 2018, when DM Equity Partners, or DMEP, an investment fund of Ben Mandemakers and Rob ten Heggeler, acquired a substantial 35% minority interest in Stella. The goal was clear. DMEP would help Stella expand internationally, with a clear aim to become the European market leader, pushing into markets like Germany in 2017 and Belgium in 2020. From 2020, they also began selling e-bikes online via their web shop, diversifying their sales channels. Production, which began with Chinese frames, eventually saw pre-assembly move to countries like Portugal, Lithuania, Bulgaria, and Romania, where many other major brands also produce their bikes. with final assembly still taking place at their non-speed facility. However, challenges mounted. Just 2 months after DMEP's investment, in July 2018, a devastating fire ripped through their non-speed factory, destroying approximately 3,000 bicycles without batteries and a shocking 6,000 batteries in a warehouse. This was, without a doubt, a massive operational and financial blow. And then, in January 2019, fire broke out again, though thankfully the damage was limited that time. Then, of course, came the global phenomenon COVID. Initially, it fueled an unprecedented boom in bicycle sales, including e-bikes. Everyone wanted one. But this surge also led to massive supply chain disruptions for components, causing significant shortages. And what happens when that initial demand surge subsides? Demand for bicycles fell sharply, leading to lower sales and, critically, excess inventory for companies like Stella. They tried to react, reducing their workforce and ceasing operations in Germany to cut costs, but these measures unfortunately proved insufficient to stem the tide. So despite the brand recognition, the expansion efforts, and the early success, Stella's financial health was rapidly deteriorating. The company was hemorrhaging cash. In 2022, Stella reported a net loss of 17.7 million euros. That's a huge hit for any business, but it got worse. In 2023, the situation became even more dire. Stella posted a staggering 20.2 million euro loss on a turnover of 102 million euros. That kind of loss, relative to turnover, is simply unsustainable. By December 2023, DMEP, the investment firm that had initially come in as a minority shareholder, stepped up and became the sole shareholder. This move was a clear indication of an attempt to restructure and stabilize the increasingly troubled business. But the sheer weight of the financial burden was just too much. Stella Fietsen officially had tens of millions of euros in debt, a colossal sum that made bankruptcy unavoidable. The company, which still employed 440 people at the time, was out of options. In November 2024, Stella formally filed for bankruptcy protection, a final, desperate plea. And just days later, on Friday, November 8, 2024, the Gelderland court made it official. Stella Fietsen was declared bankrupt. The e-bike giant had officially fallen. Now, a bankruptcy of this scale sends immediate and devastating shockwaves. All of Stella's 48 test centers and service points instantly closed their doors. However, Frans van Os stepped in as a curator and promised that customers would be informed about their orders and repairs by November 15th, trying to manage the immediate fallout from the closure. But here's where the plot thickens a bit. This isn't entirely an end credit scene for Stella. We've actually seen this kind of play out before in the e-bike world. Think about Van Moof, another prominent Dutch e-bike maker that went bankrupt but eventually found new life under British electric scooter manufacturer Lavoie. Or Quitch, which also went bust but was acquired by a consortium of investors and restarted. And Stella? History might just repeat itself. On December 2, 2024, investment company Ebike swooped in, purchasing the assets of the bankrupt Stella. The immediate outlook isn't for Stella to return to its former sprawling glory. The company will be considerably scaled down. But the critical detail is that sales and service are actually slated to restart by March 1, 2025. It's a second chance, a leaner, perhaps wiser version of a once dominant brand trying to pick up the pieces, hoping to capitalize on that enduring brand recognition. The story of Stella Fietsen is, without a doubt, a compelling and complex case study. It's a vivid illustration of the rapid growth, the intense competition, and the razor-thin margins that can exist even in what appears to be a booming industry. From 2008, growing to over 600 employees and selling tens of thousands of bikes, dominating the Dutch e-bike landscape, only to face mounting debt, significant losses of 20.2 million euros in 2023, and a dramatic bankruptcy. It's a lot to process. Stella's journey serves as a powerful reminder that even market leaders aren't immune to financial pressures. unforeseen events like factory fires, global supply chain disruptions, and the constant need for swift adaptation in a rapidly evolving market. As the e-bike industry continues to push innovation and battle for market share, the hard-learned lessons from Stella's meteoric rise and unexpected fall will certainly resonate for years to come.